Hello, this is Amanda from Willow and Pip. Welcome to my YouTube channel. For those that are new here, I make vlogs and videos about running my small business from my home in Southampton, Ontario. And my business is making candles, body products, and soap out of my home. And I should add, while running working a full-time career and having a family of four. So welcome if you're new. Today, I thought I would talk about my suggestion on whether or not you need a website for those that are like myself. So again, I'm talking to those that are kind of new to the soap making candle business world, not scaling this up to a huge capacity at the moment, but just starting out while also working another career or job. So I started out early days actually with launching my website first. This was even before my first market. I did start with the Shopify platform. And the reason I did that is actually a ton of research from other YouTubers and um, also a little bit of my own personal experience and knowledge. Um, I, at one point, early days, had a little Etsy shop where I sold and made handmade cards. And so I was familiar with the Etsy platform, the ins and outs of that platform, what I liked, what I didn't like. And so I had that as a bit of a basis. And so my thought process was, do I want to be paying a monthly fee for a sort of proper full website like Shopify versus something like Etsy where the fees are a lot less to get started because of as a lot of people may know, or maybe you don't, but you pay sort of a listing fee, which at the time of this video is around 20 cents per listing fee. So much cheaper on I would say, product by product basis on the Etsy platform. But I did chose to go to the Shopify platform, and I'll talk a little bit about why that is. So again, I'm about 3 years into my soap making journey. Before I even went to my first market, which is how I started, I did create a Shopify website where I listed the products that I was offering. I wanted to be able to add a about us story. And although Etsy does have some limited text fields, it's not the same as having sort of full control. Whereas the Shopify platform, you can add as much text in whatever way that you want. You could create a separate page. You could do it on the home landing page. Um, there are a lot more flexibility there. And I also knew that I wanted to be able to offer wholesale. And again, you could probably link to something like Fair through Etsy. So there's certainly ways around it. But for me, I just sort of wanted more of that proper website feel. Now, with Shopify, there does come a price tag, and it's somewhere around $60 US. There's a couple of different options. I'm paying for sort of the base option, which is, just being able to have a checkout for people, which of course is the point where they can purchase online. But it still is, it's somewhere around 55 to 60 US. It always comes out a little bit different for me on my bill because it converts it to Canadian. So forgive me, I don't know exactly what the charge is, but it's the base level program or the base level package where it's sort of the minimum cost there that you can sign up for being able to have a checkout option on your site. So I do struggle admittedly a little bit with it. I am of the recommendation that you have a website of some kind. I do think, however, based on what your needs are and what your budget allowances are as well, the type of platform, it will vary. I'm not 100% confident that Shopify is, was the right decision. It's just how I started, and so it's how I've stayed. Because as I've progressed through my journey, I have spent the majority of my focus and time, the free time that I have, in making product and attending craft fairs and vendor shows. I will say the Shopify platform is easy to use, and I'm not a tech person. It's straightforward, it's easy to use. There's different templates that you can use, which there's a lot to pick from that are free. I have a free one. Um, and I also find it's professional. So it's I've been able to give out my website URL to like vendors or other retailers that might be looking to have some of my product line in their stores. And I've been able to give that out with confidence. Whereas I've always felt a little bit like if I were to give my Etsy shop URL, in contrast, it may look sort of a little less professional. Again, that's just my opinion. I could be totally off base on that, but I would say that that was a bit of a decision bullet for me when making pros and cons lists about Etsy versus Shopify. Um, Now, I know I watch other YouTube videos where there are other platforms out there as well that I think could be also cost efficient, like Etsy. It's just I didn't have the time or the patience to really research beyond the two. I knew Shopify existed. I obviously knew Etsy existed. And I just did not want to spend too much time, effort, money into the rabbit hole of WordPress or whatever is out there. But if anyone out, in the viewing world here has an opinion, a suggestion, let me know. It's actually something of late that I've started contemplating whether I should move to the Etsy route. And the reason for that is that monthly price point. Um, it's hard if you've had little online sales. It's hard to then get a bill for $55, $60 if you've only had a couple of online sales. The difficult thing, or the thing that I try to challenge my thinking on, is that there's probably an indirect sales associated with successes I have elsewhere. Um, for those that have watched some previous videos, you do know that I am in some retail shops in my local area here. I do get a lot of requests now to go to vendor markets. And so I think all of that has come sort of with my social media, including Instagram, to be honest. But so I am on Instagram, but I think a strong part of that, they can click. If they find me through Instagram, I obviously have my website linked, and then they can see sort of a professional layout and setup. And I think that adds to my credibility as a small business owner in my community. Anyway, those are my thoughts on website. I do definitely think you should have a website presence of some sort. It's just what platform you choose to use. I think there are pros and cons, and I think it depends on some variables in what your goals are as well in your business. That's all for today. Please like for more.